just came from seeing Barbie. I hadn't planned on seeing that movie, but I kept hearing such good things about it. The movie has hit $1 billion worldwide, so I mean, I had to go see it. It's not a movie I imagine myself going to go see. And I'll say what I liked about it. The art design was amazing. I can't think of one performance that wasn't good. Margot Robbie is amazing in it. I had no idea Issa Rae was in this, and she was great too. So in terms of performances, it was great. In terms of the way it looked, awesome. I'll go ahead and say I was surprised to see this. I'd say she's an iconic actress at this point. I was surprised to see Rhea Perlman in this. She has a small role in this as well. I'm not going to say anything more than that. So all the performances, the look of the film, except for there's some scenes where they're clearly in a large studio. Now, the thing that I kind of had issue with was that, and it's one of the reasons I went to see this film, is that I got the impression it was not going to be just like a stupid cash grab on a venerable toy, that this was an intelligent movie. So I went in thinking, you know, expecting it to have a message, right? And boy, this movie is a message movie. Some people might want to say it has an agenda. I'm not going to go that far, but it is a message movie, and no doubts about it, it's not a subtle message either. Now, there is truth in the message. I mean, there's no denying that. But I think the movie overplays that message, and it fabricates reality a bit much. There's no doubt that what this movie positions as a reality for the sexes is in fact the case. But I tend to think that in some parts of the film, they kind of overdid it. I think they presented a reality that was a little hyperbolic. I just took it as they want to overstate the message to make us understand what the theme of the film is. And I'll just go ahead and say it's basically about patriarchy, which is definitely a thing in this society.
No, I won't let you do just one appendectomy.
But I'm a man.
But not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
Yes, patriarchy exists, and there's no doubt that it's something that needs to be addressed. I just think that it could have been done a little bit with more subtlety. I'm just not the type of guy that likes to get hit over the head with a message. I think I'm smart enough, intelligent enough to be able to get or receive a message with less of a sledgehammer. But that's okay. I just feel like with a message movie like this, and I'm calling it a message movie, typically, at least in my opinion, a lot of movies that have such a overwhelming message, they tend to raise more questions through the course of the narrative. I don't want to spoil anything, but you've probably seen or heard in other reviews and seen in the trailers that Margot Robbie's Barbie is not enamored of Ken. And Ken spends a lot of his time trying to get noticed by Barbie. And that plays a major role in the plot towards the second act. I'm not going to say anything. The solution to the conflict in this film, I couldn't help but see it as raising additional questions. But they involve love, romance, relationships between men and women, and what this film is trying to state about relationships between men and women. I mean, you can read a lot of stuff into this. That's what I mean by movies like this. They tend to raise more questions. Not saying it's a bad thing, but it's like, boy, I wish I could know what they are trying to say. As it is, I just have to make my own interpretation. But the thing is that I'm talking about this movie having a lot of hyperbole and maybe overstating the reality of patriarchy. But as a man, I'm not going to be one to say, oh, shame on this film, or I'm not going to go the Fox News route and say, oh, this film is woke and has an agenda. It is woke, but I get why the film states the theme as strongly as it does. Like I said, I get it. There's one point where Barbie leaves Barbie Land and goes into the real world. The real world is almost as surreal as Barbie's world. And I would have liked to have seen the real world depicted with a little bit more gravity. Will Ferrell plays the CEO of Mattel, and all of his scenes are played like a hyper surreal. So there wasn't much definition between Barbie Land and the real world as presented by this film, which it wasn't the worst thing, but I would have liked to have seen more contrast. But I will say that Margot Robbie acted her ass off in this movie. There's a point where she, in the real world, has to deal with some real world stuff. And boy, she really puts in the work. I think she should get nominated for something for this film. Ryan Gosling was really good too. He's really funny. His timing is excellent. And the dance numbers, I was mesmerized. I thought there were some really good dance numbers. That these actors are delivering lines that had to be timed in between the music and dancing, and the choreography was pretty intricate. I was really impressed by that. At the end of the film, I'm not going to give anything away. It does kind of fall on the let's speechify to wrap everything up. The climactic scene involves a lot of speeches and a little bit of preaching and self-empowerment, which is fine. And I think it did make sense. I did like the context. It's just, wow. I think the film kind of all the energy that it built up, it didn't find a good way to pay it off in that last scene. Although all of the dialogue was meaningful, it just came off as, okay, now we're just uttering dialogue to get our message across. Now, having said that, the last scene, the very last scene, I couldn't help laughing at. It was clever. It was very clever, and it involves the asexual nature of the Barbie and Ken dolls, I'll put it that way. And the first scene, I was really bought in. The first scene is an homage to Stanley Kubrick's 2001. I thought that was genius. I thought that was great the way they staged that. So yeah, that's the Barbie movie. Great performances, great dance numbers, awesome design. By nature, it's a message movie. I just wish it had been a little bit more subtle and had maintained an even level of wit and cleverness that pops up in the movie every now and then. I could see watching this again when it comes on streaming, because there were a lot of things I missed. Oh, and I wanted to say Kate McKinnon has a guest role, and it's probably one of the funnier roles in the film. She plays a Barbie as well, and let's just say she's a damaged Barbie. So with all that, I want to give this movie 3 stars. Yeah, I'd say it's worth seeing, but I thought for me, it could have been even better. I did find myself kind of being lulled off. I almost fell asleep at one point. It was the point where we started preaching. They started preaching at us, and the message was not so subtle, hit me over the head. But yeah, I would say it's worth a look. I probably, like I said, I won't see it again until it comes on streaming, just to see what I might have missed. So there you have it. All right, everybody. I'll see you soon.